At DeVry University's College of Business, we're looking for the go-getters. So if you want to learn what's been business world tested today and make an impact tomorrow, you're our kind of different. DeVry University's College of Business. Different on purpose.
I'm Allie Rosen for Fox Lifestyle. Award-winning chef April Bloomfield is taking a historic approach to Thanksgiving this year with a pop-up restaurant serving pilgrim-inspired fare. She joins me now in the studio. Welcome.
Hi, how you doing? Nice to see you.
Good to see you too. So explain to me what this pop-up is, because you're really going all out on the original Thanksgiving experience.
Yeah, well, I got approached by, excuse me, I got approached by the Nat Geo channel to, do this amazing pop-up. So my challenge was to create a menu, basically from the moment the Pilgrims left England, so an old world menu, to the voyage, actually on the Mayflower. So I had to come up with some creative dishes on things that they might have eaten on the ship.
I imagine yours will be a little better than probably what they
Probably,
yeah.
I think it was probably more of a simple taste back on the ship. And then into the New World, so, things that they were probably eating that the Native Americans had kind of given them, and what they had learned from the Native Americans.
And so this is in partnership with a show that Nat Geo is airing. How did you meld, from the show into the dishes?
Basically, I did a ton of research, and actually that was a really fun part of it, because I got to learn at the same time.
Was it surprising?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know that the Native Americans had this amazing growing process of how they grow their vegetables. So they have this thing called the Three Sisters, where they plant corn. And when they plant the corn, they plant beans, and then they plant squash. And it's very kind of symbiotic, and everything kind of, like the corn adds nutrients back for the beans and the squash. And, it's a great story that the Pilgrims kind of got to learn this process. And it was fun for me because I got to learn it too. So I came up with a dish that was inspired by that. It was a succotash made from hominy and some beans and some pumpkin.
And for you, obviously, when people think Thanksgiving, they would think of approaching an American chef. How has it been for you as a British chef? Because obviously, most of the journey and the early part of the meal, what do you typically make?
Yeah, I do. I love it, actually. I love the coming together of the process of Thanksgiving, and just being able to reflect and take time and think and just be thankful. I love that. But I love hearty stuff. Like I'll do a lovely roast duck with glazed with balsamic vinegar, a little bit of lemon, so it's kind of got this sweet and sour palate to it. Lots of root vegetables, pumpkins, I'm slightly obsessed with pumpkins. So yeah, pomegranates, I love all that stuff,
And what are the types of things that you discovered in your research that you feel like have gotten lost from traditional Thanksgivings that people are now cooking that should come back?
It was very surprising that when the Pilgrims landed in Plymouth, that they were given ducks and venison. So, it's kind of nice. I wish people would cook more with venison, actually.
Right, instead of just turkey.
Instead of just turkey, yeah.
And what about, you mentioned the squash, but were there other vegetables and spices that you perhaps came across that you were surprised to see as part of Thanksgiving?
Lots of juniper and bay leaf, all those kind of things that probably, they wouldn't have used on the ship. That kind of stuff they came across, yeah.
And so tell me a little bit about the show, and for those who want to learn about the pop-up, where can they go, what can they do?
Well, basically, watch the show. It's aired on November 22nd, and it's just on Nat Geo. And it's a great way to learn about the history of America.
Wonderful. Well, April Bloomfield, thank you so much for teaching us. And Saints and Strangers premieres November 22nd on National Geographic, and you can check out aprilbloomfield.com for more on Chef April Bloomfield. For Fox Lifestyle, I'm Allie Rosen.
At DeVry University's College of Business, we're looking for the go-getters. So if you want to learn what's been business world tested today and make an impact tomorrow, you're our kind of different. DeVry University's College of Business. Different on purpose.
Controversy on campuses across the country. First at Cornell University, where students displayed disturbing cartoons at a social justice event on the Ivy League campus, one depicting the GOP as Jihadi John. Then at two middle schools, where a teacher forced her students to sing a song about spreading Islam, and then another assigned students to a terror propaganda poster. They had to come up with propaganda posters to join ISIS. Here to react is Caleb Bonham. He broke the Cornell story. He's a co-founder of DCO Consulting and the editor-at-large of hipline.org. Nice to see you this morning, Caleb. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Clayton.
All right, let's start with the story you broke at Cornell. What in the world is the social justice event, and how can they justify likening the GOP to Jihadi John? Explain that.
Oh, well, the justification is the most outrageous part. Yeah, so at Cornell University, they put on in the Industrial and Labor Relations Department a sort of labor roundtable for students to get together and talk about social justice, and they featured art from these cartoonists that are big in the labor movement. Now, obviously, this event was sponsored by a lot of teachers, by a lot of union-based organizations, and they put up artwork all across the room that featured things like the GOP elephant sexually assaulting a woman, and most offensively, the GOP as Jihadist John in his black clothes garb with a innocent man standing next to him, and the elephant is holding out a knife, presumably about to behead this man. Now, the university's response was that this is supposed to expand dialogue, tolerance, and acceptance in the university community.
Yeah, I mean, it's just outrageous, and so much so that it's Sunday morning. We're not going to show you the sexually assaulting GOP elephant, by the way, on national television. I want to get their response, which you just said. Cornell's Dean of Industrial and Labor Relations said this. Kevin Hollick said, "This year's display again includes some strong images," he said, "a few of which have provoked complaints, but art can sometimes shock and be controversial." Is that a sufficient response?
No, absolutely not. Look, free speech must be protected, and we must protect that free speech. But here's the important thing. Students who consider themselves to be Republican, conservatives, to be likened to Jihadist John and ISIS. It's absolutely unacceptable.
And then we heard the other story about the Utah school, of course, using having the students create propaganda posters for people to join ISIS as a classroom exercise. How would you develop propaganda posters? And then also the lyrics at another school in California, the middle school, having the kids sing about the spread of Islam, switching up the fight song lyrics, talking about God and creating explosions like a sandstorm in the desert, sending camels into motion, like how a single faith can make a heart open. I'm not singing this. I'm